Hi, my name's Dr. Catherine Hughes from Crime Psych. I'm a criminal psychologist and I run a business that enables me to bring knowledge and learning to everyone, not just those who are at schools or universities or colleges. And I do this by producing a range of blogs, vlogs and free online courses. But I'll also run some slightly more in-depth courses, both online and face-to-face. You don't need any previous qualifications to learn with me, and there are several subjects available. Once you're finished watching this video, why not head on over to my website to see if you can make it to an event or learn online in your own time. This particular video is looking at what a narcissist is. I'm going to begin this video by stating that narcissists are not always criminals or abusers. They don't inevitably carry out domestic abuse, and some traits of this disorder can be positive. These can be very charming, well-mannered people who simply have difficulty focus on anything beyond their own needs. We tend to use the term narcissist widely in society these days. We flippantly refer to those who appear to be full of themselves as narcissists. However, narcissism is a fairly rare condition that affects only about 6% of the population. The Narcissistic Personality Inventory, developed by Robert Raskin and Calvin Hall in 1979, is the most commonly used measure of this trait. Scores range from 0 to 40, with the average score tending to fall into the low to mid-teens. Healthy individuals who score somewhat higher may be perceived as extremely charming, especially on their first encounter with people. But eventually they come across as being quite vain. Some individuals might have awkward or stressful personal encounters, but they still have a fundamentally healthy personality. Some articles that I came across list different subtypes of narcissism. However, this isn't always as simple as it first seems. Narcissism is best thought of as a behaviour that's on a continuum. The trait is normally distributed within the population, with most people scoring near the middle and a few people scoring at the extreme ends of the score. But importantly, we all score somewhere on this scale. Narcissistic personality disorder is a mental condition in which people have an inflated sense of their own importance. They have a deep need for excessive attention and admiration. They have troubled relationships and they have a lack of empathy for others. But behind that mask of extreme confidence, there's a fragile self-esteem that's vulnerable to the slightest bit of criticism. A narcissistic personality disorder causes problems in many areas of the person's life, such as relationships, work, school, financial affairs. People with narcissistic personality disorder might be generally unhappy and disappointed when they're not given the special favours or the admiration that they believe they deserve. They may find their relationships unfulfilling. Others might not enjoy being around them. Those who have narcissistic personality disorder are in love with an idealised, grandiose image of themselves. They're in love with this inflated self-image because it allows them to avoid the deep feelings of insecurity. They use various tactics to support their inflated ego and their sense of entitlement. It's this need to prop themselves up that brings about the negative behaviours. Narcissistic personality disorder involves a pattern of self-centred, arrogant thinking and behaviour, and a lack of empathy or a lack of consideration for other people. They have an excessive need for admiration. Others often describe them as cocky, manipulative, selfish, patronising or demanding. This way of thinking and behaving surfaces, as I said, in every area of the narcissist's life, from work and friendships to family and love relationships. Narcissists are extremely resistant to changing their behaviour, even when it's causing them problems. They tend to turn the blame onto others. They're extremely sensitive and react badly to even the slightest criticisms, disagreements, or perceived slights, which they feel are personal attacks. Narcissists have a very unrealistic sense of superiority. They believe that they're better than everyone else, and they have special qualities. They only want to associate with others who have the same high standard, and they view all others as being beneath them because they feel that they're better than everybody else. They expect this quality to be admired and recognised. They greatly exaggerate their achievements or their talents. They may even tell outright lies. For example, if you were to tell a narcissist that you won a trophy in a sport, they'll tell you how that they're friends with everybody on that team and have been personally coached by them. If you tell a narcissist that you've bought a piece of furniture from a prestigious designer, they will have already owned one and got rid of it because it wasn't good enough for them. When a narcissist talks about work or relationships, all they'll tell you is how great they are at the job, how lucky they are for those people to have them there, and how indispensable they are. As far as a narcissist is concerned, they are the best of the best and everybody else is beneath them. Of course, reality will never support this view of themselves, and they live in a world of fantasy, distortion and lies. They tell stories of unrivaled success and power that make them feel really special and in control. This make-believe world serves to protect their vulnerable and their fragile self-esteem. If anything or anyone threatens that view or is at risk of exposing their lies, then they're met with extreme anger and even rage from the narcissist. Those around narcissists tend to learn very quickly to tread carefully around their denial of reality. They need this admiration in abundance to protect their fragile psyche. They surround themselves with people who are willing to constantly feed this need in them. Their relationships are very one-sided. It's all about what the admirer can do for the narcissist and never the other way around. And if there's ever an interruption or reduction in the admirer's attention and praise, the narcissist treats it as a deep betrayal. They truly believe that whatever they want, they should get. They also expect the people around them to automatically comply with their every wish and their every whim. They lack empathy and view the people in their lives as objects which are there to serve a purpose. They can be completely oblivious to other people's needs, and they don't know or they don't think about how their own behaviour will affect other people. Even if it's pointed out to them that they're using or exploiting people, they still wouldn't understand what the problem was. The only thing that they understand is their own self-needs. When narcissists meet people who are popular or confident, they feel quite threatened, especially if that person has something that the narcissistic person lacks. They'll deal with this by putting other people down and threatening them or treating them with contempt. To protect themselves against feelings of inferiority and shame, narcissists deny their own shortcomings, cruelties, or any mistakes. And they'll often do this by projecting these shortcomings onto people who are close to them. People with narcissistic personality disorder often display quite snobbish or disdainful or patronising attitudes. For example, they might complain about a clumsy waiter's rudeness or their stupidity, or they'll conclude a medical evaluation with a condescending evaluation of the doctor who's just given it. In order for a person to be diagnosed with personality disorder, they must meet 5 or more of the following symptoms. They must have a grandiose sense of self-image. For example, they might exaggerate achievements and talents. They'll expect to be recognised as superior without any fixed achievement in that area. They must be preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or an ideal love. They believe that he or she is special and unique and can only be understood by or should associate with other special or high status people or institutions. They might require an excessive admiration. They have a very strong sense of entitlement, such as having unreasonable expectations or especially favourable treatment or automatic compliance with their expectations. They must be exploitative of others, such as taking advantage of others to achieve his or her own needs. They lack empathy, such as being unwilling to recognise or identify with feelings of other people. They're often envious of others or believes that others are envious of them. They regularly show arrogant, haughty behaviours or attitudes towards others. Narcissistic personality disorder is more prevalent in males than it is in females, and it's thought to occur in only around 6% of the general population. Like most personality disorders, narcissistic personality disorder typically will decrease in intensity with age, with many people experiencing few of the more extreme symptoms by the time they're in their 40s or 50s. According to an article in the British Journal of Psychiatry, there may be 2 subtypes of narcissistic personality disorder. One is grandiose or overt narcissism, and vulnerable or covert narcissism. The article states that people with the former subtype might appear arrogant, pretentious, dominant, self-assured, exhibitionist or aggressive, whereas people with the latter may present as being overly sensitive, insecure, defensive or anxious about and have maybe an underlying sense of shame and inadequacy. Both types of individuals share a preoccupation with satisfying their own needs at the expense or the consideration of others. Narcissists can be very magnetic and charming people. They're very good at creating a fantastical, flattering self-image that draws you in. We're attracted to their apparent confidence and their lofty dreams. And the more unstable our own sense of self-esteem, the more seductive the allure to narcissists. It's easy to get caught up in their web, thinking that they will fulfill our longing to feel more important, feel more alive, feel more loved. But it is a fantasy, and a costly one at that. Narcissists will think nothing of going through or borrowing your possessions without asking, snooping through your mail or your personal correspondence, eavesdropping on conversations, barging in without an invitation, stealing your ideas and using them as their own, giving you unwanted opinions or advice. They might tell you what you should think or feel. Researchers today don't know what causes narcissistic personality disorder. There have been, and there are many theories, however, about the possible causes of narcissistic personality disorder. Most professionals subscribe to a biopsychosocial model of causation. And that means that the causes are likely to be due to biological and genetic factors, as well as social and psychological factors. This suggests that no single factor is responsible for the condition. It's the complex and likely intertwined nature of all of these factors that are important in diagnosis. In conclusion, then, narcissists have a personality disorder that makes them very difficult to deal with. They can be very loving, they can be very charming. Narcissistic personality disorder can be successfully treated with talking therapies. However, narcissists will be reluctant to admit that they have a disorder and need treatment for it. When they do work with a skilled therapist, they can learn to accept responsibility for their actions. They can develop a better sense of proportion, build healthier relationships. They can also work on developing emotional intelligence. And this enhances their ability to understand, use and manage their emotions in more positive ways, to empathise with others and to be able to communicate effectively and build stronger relationships. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video on narcissists. I hope that you found it interesting and, more importantly, have learned something from it. Bye for now.